Australia, and I believe this is her first full feature film. And it shows you the quality of the...
So this would be like a 60-minute?
This is, I think, a 1-hour documentary.
Okay.
And it gives you an idea of the type of films that we show. They're not just beautiful with their crystal clear picture and sound, but they have an educational message, which students, adults will find interesting.
That was so beautiful, it made me just want to like go and watch the rest of it right now.
Sure. Well, you'll have the opportunity for that in September.
That's right. Those of you that are just joining us, we're going to be having the film festival for the Wildlife Conservation Film Festival, and Christopher is here telling us all about that. And you need to reserve your tickets early, I believe, Christopher, because of course seating is limited, and the earlier you get, the better assurance you'll have of being able to come.
Yes, we have our film festival at the Bay Street Theater, which holds about 225 for movies. So we encourage people to reserve tickets early. And there's two ways you can do that. You can call Bay Street Theater, or you can go on their website, and through their box office, you can purchase tickets to any of the film series or to the gala on Saturday night. You could also contact us through our website, which is www.wildlifefilmfestivals.com. We just created a Facebook page last week, so we're now on Facebook, which is Wildlife Conservation Film Festivals. And we also will have, I believe, some tickets and information about the film festival at various locations in Sag Harbor, particularly Romney Cremoris Gallery, who is my lead volunteer and a wonderful person who has helped spearhead the movement here in Sag Harbor and the Hamptons to get the interest out among the community.
Now, if other people wanted to volunteer, how would they go about reaching you?
Sure. Basically, just go to the website. And
you want to repeat that again?
Wildlife Film Festivals, which is plural.com, and there you'll have my email and my phone number, and I'm usually very accessible, very easy to get a hold of. And this being our second year, last year we had a volunteer of two, myself and one other person. This year we have volunteers of about 15 people. And there are people who came to last year's film festival, saw the films and said, this is wonderful, you know, great films, how can I get involved, how can I help? And fortunately these people were very, they followed up through. One person I want to thank is Charlotte Taylor, the Taylor family, who have been immensely helpful this year with their work. Her daughter Blair does actually design our logo for the film festival. And,
I like that logo too, by the way.
Well, thank you. That's
nice.
compliments of Blair Taylor. And her mother, Charlotte, has been very helpful and influential this year in making this film festival possible. And it's people like that who live out here who will support this event, but we hope this will take place for many years to come in Sag Harbor.
Well, it's such an important work. It really is. So tell us a little bit more. This is one clip that we've just seen, which was beautiful and fascinating. But tell us, I know you have some about elephants, and what are some of the other species?
We have a lot of films. We have 6 films that are actually being submitted by Everett Dan de Bos, who is a very well-respected wildlife filmmaker from the Netherlands. He'll actually be coming here in the fall to meet with the audience and speak, and he has submitted, I believe, 6 films. One is Elephants Return to the Wild. Another is Wild Dogs, which is the wild dog species that lives in Africa. Another is Crocs of Kentuba. He also has a film on cheetahs.
Imagine being a documentary about crocodiles, you know, being out there with them. That's pretty scary.
I mean, it's great footage because he's actually in the water filming them face to face, both on the surface and underwater. It's remarkable footage. He's one of the world's most respected wildlife filmmakers, and it's wonderful that he's coming here in September, and he has those 6 films that he'll be showing. We have other films. One is called Whale Shark Hunters, which is about, of course, whale sharks. And then we have films that are being submitted by the Nature Conservancy. One is called Home for Hawksbill, which is about hawksbill turtles. Conservation International, one of the most recognized and prestigious conservation groups on the globe. They'll be submitting a number of films. I think they have one film on Suriname, which is, again, out in Asia. Has unique biodiversity. of animals and plants that are found nowhere else except that location. And those are the kind of films that we have, not just of species and habitat here in North America, but worldwide, ranging from Antarctica to Australia to Africa to the forest of northern Canada and the deserts of the Sahara. And I've never had anyone tell me that the films were boring or not interesting. So I think everyone will be pleased again this year as they were last year.
So since you're knowledgeable about the topic, and you did mention North America, what species do you consider the most in jeopardy right now in North America?
There's actually a species that I'm trying to film myself. Then this is something we're going to discuss at the film festival, because I am producing some films myself on particular wildlife. There is an animal called the vaquita, and it is a porpoise. It's the world's smallest porpoise, cetacean, only about 3.5 feet long. Unfortunately, it's also the world's most endangered. It is believed now there are only 100 animals left.
Oh, wow.
And extinction...
Now, how do you find them in the ocean?
Well, that's the tricky part. They're actually in Baja, California.
Okay.
In the Gulf of Baja. They're in a small area, certainly not the size of the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean, but it's still 4,000 square miles their range. And when you're looking for only 100 animals in 4,000 square miles, which is about the size of Los Angeles County, it's tricky. And people have gone down there before and have tried to film the animal and have spent months and have not seen it. They know it's there because they've been able to tap into acoustic buoys that are in place by NOAA, and they know that the animals are still there. Porpoises also do not travel in family groups, or otherwise known as pods, which we call whales and dolphins when they travel in groups as pods. Porpoises are generally solitary, except when they have a calf. And unfortunately, this animal is dying, not because of habitat loss, not because of an invasive species or pollution, but they're drowning in gill nets. And their mortality is about 20 animals a year.
Drowning in what?
Gill nets.
Okay, what's this?
Gill nets are long line gill nets that essentially are thrown into the water by fishermen and catch everything from sharks to other large fish to sea turtles, and in this case, marine mammals. And unfortunately, many times, by the time the net is pulled up, the animal will drown. So even if the animal is still alive, when it gets into the net, if it's reeled in, what we have also found, for some reason, the fishermen have acquired a taste for the vaquita. And we have been reading reports that even when animals are brought on board alive, they're unfortunately killed by fishermen. And yeah, it's a beautiful porpoise. Unfortunately, we just lost the Yangtze River dolphin recently, which was the first marine mammal to go extinct in over 50 years. It seems like the vaquita is heading in that direction. But again, it's not doom and gloom. There is a very simple solution to save this species, and that is to stop gill netting and to enforce the laws that are already in place.
That's what I thought. I thought that we did have those laws.
Well, unfortunately, it's in Mexico, and it's not in our territorial waters, so we do not have any authority there. And the Mexican government has been doing its best to try to protect the vaquita, but like most countries right now, they're facing an economic crisis, and other things are taking priority. Plus, also, again, whether you're a wildlife ranger or police officer, you cannot be in every single place at the same time. And when you're dealing with an aquatic environment, it's almost impossible to monitor every fisherman who's on their boat and has their lines in the water. And unfortunately, a lot of times when they find out about the vaquita, it's already been caught in the net and has already drowned. Given their rate of having babies each year and the mortality rate, you're looking at a possible extinction within a 5-year period. And no one has ever filmed this animal. It has never been documented through film, and that is a goal that I would like to do. I've already assembled a team that includes wildlife filmmakers, marine biologists, water quality analysts. We've picked our location that we would have our base of operations in Baja, California. It's now a question of looking at a date which we would like to go perhaps in mid-November of this year for at least 5 to 6
Can I
weeks. Absolutely. We'll need volunteers. We'll need people to assist us on the ground and in the water. But the most critical thing here is funding, like anything else. And
Me and my big mouth.
well, no, I mean,
No,
you do not know unless you ask.
Absolutely.
So, calculating what we need for transportation, for bringing the film crew there with their equipment, and of course, we're also going to be shooting underwater, so you're talking about now underwater film equipment, which is very expensive, and of course, our scuba diving equipment. It's an expensive operation, so we're probably looking at anywhere between $75,000 to $100,000 for a 6-person film crew for about 4 to 6 weeks.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that I'm working on a documentary myself.
Okay.
But one of the things that people say to me is, a documentary, that's the kiss of death. Don't you know that you can never, get your funding back from a documentary, that your chances of ever getting it shown are almost impossible? Do you find that this is true with the documentaries that are coming to the film festival? I mean, I know that you have a special, particular type of person that films wildlife. This is a passion.
Yes.
It really is a passion, and I don't think that most of us that do animal documentaries are really interested in, we don't do this for profit per se.
No.
We do this because we love the animals.
There are filmmakers who do it as a profession, and that is their full-time job, and they've been doing it for 20 years. And then there are those that do it simply as a hobby, because they're advocates of animals. It is their passion. Not all of them are looking to make their money back. There are those who would ideally like to have their films screened on some of the networks, whether it's Animal Planet or National Geographic, and some are. But there are others, like some of the shorts, that are maybe only a 5 or 10 or 15-minute film that will not make it to a network, simply because they don't have the running time. But those people are generally not someone who's looking to have it picked up and get compensation for it. They're simply showing the film because it's their passion, it's what they love, and they want the message to get out to a global audience. And that's why they send us their film, because if it's about an animal in Australia, people in Australia may know about it, but not necessarily here in the Hamptons or in D.C. or Denver or Miami. And we hope to eventually have an outreach program, not just with the 4 cities that I mentioned, but perhaps throughout all of North America, where we go into schools, whether it's a middle school or a high school, and do some type of assembly program, either during the day or the evening. We want to get the message out about wildlife conservation really globally.
How do you help, or can you help, the people that submit documentaries to the film festival get exposure for their films other than what you're doing already, which is through the film festival?
Well, there's a couple things we're doing now. We certainly invite people from the major networks to come and see the film festival, and some take us up on that, and others will decide whether or not they want to wait until it's a bit more established. That's one way we can help the filmmakers, by hopefully getting their film screened somehow. The other is by showing their film to a global audience, which is what the filmmaker wants. Another thing that we would like to do in the future, as we become more established and are able to raise funding, we would actually like to be able to assist filmmakers with their production of films. We like to be able to donate money to them, to their cause, whether it's an endangered species in an ocean or in a desert or in a boreal forest. And we want to help emerging filmmakers, young filmmakers who are still either in high school or college, help produce their films, or whether it's a more seasoned filmmaker. Any way we can contribute to that.
Okay, Christopher, we're almost at a close of the program, but we want you to make sure that you come to the film festival, the Wildlife Conservation Film Festival, that's going to be in Sag Harbor, and that's going to be at the Bay Street Theater on September the 23rd,
24th, and the 25th.
Wonderful. That's absolutely great. Do you have any, please give us your website again.
Sure. The website is www.wildlifefilmfestivals.com.
Thank you for joining our show.
Thank you. Thank you.